I would like to thank everyone for attending the Winter City Council meeting for September 18th, 2023. At this time, the City of Winter will do roll call.
Councilman Clay,
Here.
Councilman Hockett,
Here.
Councilman Clunt, absent. Councilman Schramm,
Here.
Councilman Schuyler,
Here.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Here.
If you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, haven't had time to review your packets. Are there any conflicts of interest? Hearing and seeing none, City of Winter will move on to the consent agenda. Council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to
To
approve the consent agenda as written, presented. Second.
Councilman Schuyler has made a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, written. That was seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comments or questions. Hearing and seeing no comments, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Council, haven't had time to review your packets for this evening. Is there a motion on the regular agenda?
I'll make so. Motion. I'll get it out yet. We'll make the motion.
To approve? Is there a second to this motion?
Second his motion.
Councilman Sprinkle has made a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Councilman Clay has seconded the motion. Floor is open to comment or question. Hearing and seeing no comments or questions, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and this motion will carry unanimously. City of Winter moves on to recognition of visitors. As with all city council meetings, there is a 10-minute window for public input for anybody to address the City of Winter Council. Is there any public input tonight?
Hi, everybody. I just have a couple of questions that I may or may not know the answer to. Do we have a Jake break law ordinance in this town?
Yes, we do.
Anybody?
Yes.
Okay, all of our roads coming in, is that ordinance posted? Obviously, well, I didn't actually go out and look, and so I didn't notice it, but anybody coming in from 18 can't read it. 4:30 this morning. I feel sorry for those people that are in that addition south of the manor. Holy buckets. I've got an east bedroom window, and I mean, it's like they're in my backyard. I can't imagine what it's like at their house. 10:30 last night, not last night, 5:30 last night, there was 2 of them that came in. Holy moly's. I don't know whether they missed the first 45 speed sign, but when they hit the second one, they were dragging her down fast and loud. Early this spring, late spring, early summer, between 10 and 10:30 every night for about a week and a half, one came into town. So I thought, I don't know what you do about it. You got to be able to catch them. But today, all afternoon, I bet you 3 out of 5 that came in, I could hear them all through town. The one early this morning didn't come all the way into town. But so I just wanted to know if we had one, and if it was posted. I never even thought about actually looking for it till now. I've had so many of them.
It
When
will
you're-
not say Jake break, it says dynamic.
And I know it doesn't say Jake Brick
But now
anymore.
it should be in effect.
I'm old school. It's still Jake Break to me. So I just had the question. I have the answer. So it's my opinion. They need to quit. Like, I mean, quit, 4:30 in the morning. I mean, anyway, so, thanks.
So we had an ordinance on the books before, and we just recently updated it, and we put more teeth into it, correct?
Well, we corrected it because from a factual standpoint, it was almost unenforceable, the way it was written. Now it is.
Yeah, well, you could, anybody wants to sit in my house and just listen. You could find if you could get out to the access road in time, you wouldn't have any problems because you can start hearing them when they hit the, I'm sure it's a 45-mile sign mile an hour sign when they start out there. Because they've evidently missed the first notice, so when they actually hit the speed sign, oh my goodness.
It's easy to miss the first
Huh?
notice.
Well, you can, whatever you let me know, I'll fix something if you're coming over. It won't be a wasted trip. So,
What is the fine, Paul? I don't,
On the Jake break, 200.
200.
well, I'll tell you what, you could have had about, over $1,000 this afternoon. But, you know,
Well.
there you are. So, that's all I have.
I'm sure they'll look into it.
Thank you. Is there any other public input for the council? Very good, thank you. Our first communication from the city of Winter tonight is on fuel bids, and that will come from the finance officer, Chandra Phillips.
Previous 2 weeks fuel bids from September 6th. Number 2 dyed diesel Schaefer. Number 1 dyed diesel Volun Oil, 50/50, Volun Oil, regular unleaded Schaefer, propane Schaefer, fuel oil Schaefer. From September 13th. Number 2 dyed diesel Volun Oil. Number 1 dyed diesel Volun Oil, 50/50, Volun Oil, regular unleaded Volun Oil. Propane was tied at CHS and Schaefer, and fuel oil, Volun Oil.
Our final communication from the city of Winter will come on new hires from the city finance office and human resources from Chandra Phillips.
There are no new hires for the previous 2 weeks.
That concludes recognition of visitors and communications from the city of Winter. We'll move on to department reports. Our first report tonight comes from the Public Safety Commissioner, Justin Day.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We'll go ahead and start with the 911 report. Over 1,900 incidents entered into the CAD for this month. Of that, 780 were 911 calls, and then just over 4,000 for administrative calls. Second page will show you the activity throughout the entire PSAP. Third page is going to be just within the city of Winter. So you'll see there were 501 different incidents for between August 21st and September 17th. Moving over to the police department, officers Longcrow and Remmers have completed 4 weeks now at LET. Both are really enjoying the training and doing very well up there from all the feedback we're getting. Feeding South Dakota was held in Winter on September 1st. They will be doing it again on October 6th. And then we have a new patrol officer who is going to be, so the next meeting, you'll get that new hires and that will be announced there. They will be certified already, but then they will have to do our 12 weeks of FTO once they start. And then officers are continuing to focus on working traffic as well as other calls for service, which would include those 501. Over in corrections, our count today was 165 inmates. Our average for the month is 166, and our yearly average is at 160. Over the month, we have processed 113 new inmates, and then 110 were released, and then we had 61 inmate movements for the month. We also started to add in here too the provider visits. There were 4 provider visits where the hospital comes in and they saw 30 inmates over those 4 visits, and then we had 16 mental health visits. August billing just for the jail was $404,000, and then our transports were an additional little over $13,000. All the new hires are doing well, and we do plan on starting to get them up here over the next couple of meetings to meet council, so you know them, they know you. We've just had quite a few of them as of late, and so we're gonna start shuffling a couple of them through over the next couple of meetings so that you guys get a chance to meet them as well. Any questions?
Comments or questions, council? Very good. Thank you, Mr. Day.
I would like to also comment on our Jake brake ordinance. We have stopped some. That is one of those slightly difficult ones. We kind of have to be right in the right spot at the right time. Unless that's the only truck, then we can do something. So it is being pushed down, because I will tell you personally, it annoys me greatly when I'm standing there and I hear coming into town as well. So that is another one that we are actively working on and trying to catch those as well. All right, thank you. But thank you for bringing that up.
Our next report is from Troy Kruger, the Public Works Director.
Good evening. I'm going to go through water, sewer first. Those guys are still working on the radio reads and new meter heads, locates, mostly water samples, monthly meter readings. We had leaks last couple of weeks at West 11th and Hillside Drive, West 1st Street in Lamro, 5th and Van Buren. That one was a hydrant. And then the last couple of weeks we finished up with, we installed 1,300 foot of water pipe and a hydrant from Johnson Street to 317th Avenue to incorporate the new building out east on Highway 44. Streets and sanitation, crack sealed streets, set up and tear down the Labor Day activities. They've been sweeping streets. Out at the airport, we removed a bunch of trees out there for Dave and got that ground ready to seed. Adam Street curb and gutter project has been completed, so they've been putting dirt back in and we're getting that ready to seed. So did some asphalt patching. The signs on Main Street, and we've some other signs around town that finally are coming in that we've had on order for quite a while, and we're getting those up, and shop work. Parks and cemetery mowing and weed eating. We had some low areas in the parks and around the rec trails. They filled those with dirt and seeded. Funerals still continue to work on the plots in the cemetery. It was either sod or seeding to get those all, trying to get as many of those done as we can by the end of the summer. And then they just started doing some of their fall weed spraying. Light department is kind of finishing up over there in that Britton Addition area. They got one more bore to do over there, but they were doing some boring on Plum Street. They set the basements in for their transformers, installed meters, cut over electric on Tripp Avenue, finished with electric hookups for new building on the out east also here. That is now being, it's been metered, but it's a permanent hookup now. Electrical department, Ray's been working on some programming for our new meters, installing meters. He spent quite a bit of time working on that stoplight. He did a little bit he's been over to the jail for some miscellaneous stuff, locates, and another piece of equipment that we had go down during that lightning storm was our gate to our north shop. It fried a piece of hardware in that. An update on the highway project. I talked to Mike Flockus today. They are going to pour on Wednesday, September 20th. They're going to finish the main line. They're going to pour that all the way to the Casey's, so that's going to be one big pour. We do have some rain in the forecast, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If the rain stays away, they're going to pour the turning lane. So there is a possibility that they could have all the concrete work done on the main line by the end of this week, and then they'll start on sidewalks and the boulevard. Cleanup week, talked to my supervisor this morning. We're thinking the October 9th through the 13th. So if we don't have any objections to those dates, we'll probably go with those dates. In another note, I guess point of interest, signing off on the Landis and Geared project this week. So they've completed their training with us. They've completed we've got all the installation. We have one open ticket with them, but it's not a major issue, so we'll probably be signing off on that this week. We still obviously have customer service through them, but I guess we're getting along pretty good. We have a couple of, I don't want to say too much because we're going to have a meeting here first part of October with MRES, but we do have some solar customers in winter, and so that we've been asked that question quite a few times, if they put power back out on the grid, if that can be, if it has to be purchased or how that works. So we have a meeting at the end of either the end of this month or the first part of next month. We also have to incorporate meters for those locations because the meters that we have are not bi-directional. They're one direction, so they can only measure what we sell the customer. They cannot measure what goes back out on the grid. So there's some things to talk about there. So we have that meeting planned. Stoplight update. Our stoplight has been down obviously since last weekend. We have ordered parts. They're talking 60 days to get that. It was a direct lightning hit. It hit the street light so the stoplights, and then there's a riser that goes up, and there's an actual street light right there, and that's what the lightning hit, and it took out the cabinet that controls the stoplights. We did some investigating in there with this week, and we're troubleshooting it, trying to figure out what the extent of the damage is, and the guys from Traffic Solution they're just saying that it's a complete loss. So we actually are in the process of ordering a whole new cabinet, and then we're doing testing on the rest of the lights, make sure that the lights are still working, that the pedestrian crosswalk buttons are still working, making sure that the sensors in the street are still working. So we have a little bit of equipment to test yet, but I guess long story short, it's going to probably be a couple months before we see that stoplight back in operation.
That's wild.
Any questions?
Comment or question, council?
You answered what I was wanting to know about the streetlight update. That's not good. 60 days is a long time. I'm aware that, and more people should be aware that you put up four-way stop signs.
Yes.
Is there any way that they can be in the middle? I mean, I see a lot of people blow. People don't understand what a flashing red light is.
It's hard to
That's
get,
just what I was gonna
get through there before the light turns red again.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna get hurt bad.
I actually was in Spearfish last week, and I did see that they had they have quite a bit of construction going on there. And they actually did make they used the Valspar, same stuff that we mount our signs on, and they made so it was a four-way deal, and they had it sitting right in the middle of the intersection. So I kind of talked with Kelly about that yesterday. We'd have to weld it up. We don't have anything like that, but if the DOT doesn't have an objection with it, that could be a possibility, but we got to remember that's a state highway.
Yeah.
It's not a city street.
I just see people blasting, blowing, don't know.
Yeah, the one thing that's what I was gonna do, Dan, please put this in the paper. Flashing red still means stop. Flashing yellow is yield. Flashing red still means stop. You have to stop momentarily, and then it just basically operates like a stop sign. There's been a lot of educating going on with the public during this time. So if you could please put that in there as a reminder, flashing red does mean stop.
It's just hard to get through it.
Were there any other comments or questions for Public Works Director?
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Our next report is from the Finance Officer, Chandra Phillips.
I used to do that when I went home from the bar. 11th, they start flashing.
So, I actually don't have much for you. The last 2 weeks have been the last month have been extremely full with getting through executime and the payroll issues. We had a pretty major issue come through with our first holiday on the system and getting the what we call holiday overtime pay. It's not actually overtime, you just get paid an additional rate for working on a holiday. So there was a huge miscommunication between us and the writers, and they were trying to call it overtime, and it threw a whole bunch of numbers off. But I think we have it fixed so that we can pay our employees tomorrow. So I think we're good there. The other thing is I have auditors here all week. So they were here, today was their first day. We've spent the last 2 weeks in a lot of communication with them. They have a new system now where they're more online, so we can actually do, some of you are probably familiar with Dropbox. We'll actually be able to drop the information into the box on the web, and then they can start doing a lot of the work there. And it's less time they have to spend here in the office, so you could tell today they were trying to get as much information out of us and the reports that we hadn't run. So it was very busy in the office today getting that stuff taken care of. Tomorrow will be about the same, and then it'll start to slow down after that. So, any questions? I told you I didn't have much.
Public Works Director Troy Kruger.
I forgot to mention, we had that fire out at the substation
Yeah.
last week, and we're tentatively planning another planned outage. WAPA has to get in there, and they have to clean up. There's soot, and there was actually a fire out there, so they have to do some cleaning up on some of the hardware that's out there in that substation, and nothing of the cities was damaged. It's not on our side. It's on the other transformer side, but they're kind of tentatively looking at October 7th, and that outage they want to do it during the daytime, so they want to start it at 6 and go. They're thinking maybe a couple hours. All they're going to do is wash, clean, investigate, and then we might if they find damage, we might have to have another outage where they go in and actually replace anything that's damaged or needs to be replaced at that time. So, yeah, that's October 7th, and we're working with them. We're in communication with them daily, so if anything changes, as soon as we know for sure, though, we'll put a PA out on it.
AM or PM?
It would be AM, Dan.
It would be 6 in the morning, okay?
6 a.m.
For a couple, yep,
Yeah, they have to do it during daylight hours.
okay, couple hours, okay.
October 7th is a Saturday, so they're
Okay.
tentatively looking at a weekend.
Okay.
Will that be the same weekend as the youth hunting?
No,
No.
that's the following weekend.
Okay, very good.
And that's also, I love the date for the fall cleanup because we tend to try to get that done the week before pheasant hunters come to town.
Good.
We do have an observed holiday on October 9th, so it'd be the 10th through the 13th, but I like those
We did it the
dates.
same date last year. We were able to get it all done before the weekend, so we had it all cleaned up. in
Yeah.
4 days.
All right.
Well,
That- Go ahead,
the
Councilman.
pheasant season won't be the weekend of the 14th.
No, it's the third
The
weekend.
21st, right? Yeah.
That is
Okay.
correct.
So we're plenty ways ahead, yep.
Yeah. Any other comment or question, council? Okay. That concludes our department reports. City of Winter moves on, and there are no bid openings. There is a public hearing this evening. The public hearing is for special assessments regarding Resolution 2023-21 in your packets. Is there any public input on the special assessments for the City of Winter?
I do have to announce the amounts. So one account is $1,112. And also these are all for mowing and weed eating for the summer, for the previous mowing season. $772.16, $708.44, $1,175.72, $1,112, $538.52, $644.72, and another $644.72. Anyone is welcome to come to my office and look at those assessments, see what they were for. I don't have the dates. If they have dates that they want to question, they have to contact planning and zoning to get those dates, as they are who enforce that. But otherwise, the information is available in the office.
Is there any other public input? Hearing and seeing none. Council, is there a motion on resolution 2023-21?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-21.
Is there a second to this
I'll
motion?
second that.
Councilman Hockett has made a motion to adopt resolution 2023-21. The motion has been seconded by Councilman Sprinkle. The floor is open to comment or question, council.
Specifically, by adopting the resolution, we are waiving the fees? What's happening?
You're sending them to the county auditor to collect on the next year's taxes.
It'll be entered on the tax roll.
Should
Your
the-
resolution does state that it is to be sent there, and that they have until, they have 30 days after this is published to come and pay them at my office. If they don't pay them within that 30 days, then they're to be collected at the county auditor.
Are these
treasurer.
different ones than what the county had asked for us to?
Correct.
It's a different
These are
set.
new.
This is not from the county.
That is
We
correct.
already addressed that, right?
Yes.
Does it matter that the heading doesn't say 21?
I saw that just now. No, it doesn't. I'll publish it with the 21 on there, since that was your motion.
Yeah,
Wasn't my motion.
it was Councilman Hockett's. The motion was correct, I believe, right?
Yep.
That's where my
Yeah.
confusion was.
Yes,
The
the
other
motion
ones,
was correct.
The motion was
the other
correct,
ones
it's
we dealt with,
mislabeled.
and I was
Yeah.
crossed up. The names don't mean anything to me, really. Okay.
Each one of those individuals on that list were sent a notification, including two of those now the county owns, so the county was sent that notification. So you may hear from the county on those, but
Asking
they have
for
not
further-
been paid, so
Yeah.
they're still eligible for the special assessment.
I can't find it on this one.
Are these amounts
Page
private?
12.
The amounts know the names, yes.
Pardon me?
The
Hold on.
amounts know the names, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's technically the property
I
you're
don't have
assessing,
page
not the
numbers.
person.
I'm sorry.
You're assessing the property, not the person.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different
Oh. The 20 was thrown. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions, council? Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of adopting Resolution 2023-21, would you please say aye? Oh, well, roll call. That's my
roll
mistake.
call.
This is a roll call. Chair will call it by a roll call vote. Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Yes.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
and Councilman Schramm.
All right,
The ayes have it, this motion carries. That concludes public hearings for the City of Winter. City of Winter, now we'll move into Board of Adjustments. Council, is there a motion on moving into Board of Adjustments?
I'd make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to enter into Board of Adjustments.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to enter into Board of Adjustments. This motion has been seconded by Councilman Schuyler. All in favor of entering Board of Adjustments, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, this motion carries. This time we'll turn the floor over to our Planning and Zoning Director, Chelsea Lewis.
Good evening, everybody. I believe Chandra included in your packets this variance request. This is for 1034 Iowa Street. What we are amending here is actually the definition of an accessory building. What the variance is being requested on is the definition of an accessory building. Within that definition, it states that an accessory building is a subordinate building of which is purely incidental to the main building, is less than 100% of the area of the largest floor of the principal building, and is unattached from the principal building by at least 6 feet. Property owners at 1034 Iowa Street are requesting to build a 3-car garage that will be bigger than, from what I have, her 1,008 square foot residence. You can see letter C in our discussion that it be approximately 432 square feet larger than that residence. The lots in question are currently surrounded by industrial lots in R3 MH zoning, so that's that residential with manufactured home zoning. Letters were sent to the neighboring properties and a notice was placed in the paper as well as on the property in question. There's been no opposition received either within my office or at our planning commission meeting last week. The accessory building will be placed on 2 of the 3 lots owned by the property owner. Attorney Jensen will draft an agreement that these lots not be replatted as to allow an accessory structure to be sold separately from the residence. We are requesting that this variance request be granted based on coming to that agreement with the property owner. Any questions?
And just to make the point, that was the recommendation of the planning commission.
Is there any other public input? Council, is there a motion?
I would make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to approve the request, if that's the correct verbiage.
Yes, sir. At 1034 Iowa Street.
Yes, I'd make a motion to approve the variance request at 1034 Iowa Street.
I'd second that, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to approve the variance request at 1034 Iowa Street.
I'll second that.
Motion has been seconded by
Okay.
Councilman Schramm. Floor is open to comments or questions from council at this point. Council, any comment or question?
Should the motion read what agreement has been received?
Yeah, the motion should just include the what we can call the zoning agreement, which was part of the recommendation.
Councilman Clay, would you care to amend?
I thought it was implied, but
It's
sure.
implied, but we want to state it.
But he made a motion to approve the variance request, and the request says, "Thou shalt have this attorney's agreement." I don't think we need that extra.
We do because the motion needs to specify what's included because of the fact you're not only approving the variance, you're approving the variance conditionally upon them entering in the agreement.
Okay, that, I will amend my motion to include your chosen verbiage. Councilman Schramm may not second that again, I don't know.
Right. I'll second it. but
Okay.
Thank you.
I think I'm right.
Well,
The motion has been amended to read, so everybody is aware, to approve the variance request at 1034 Iowa Street per the planning and zoning recommendation, where there is a condition that an agreement is signed stating that the accessory structure cannot be sold separately from the residence, is how it will read. Any other comment or questions? Hearing none, chair calls the question. All in favor of approving the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This motion carries unanimously. Councilman Clay.
speak to the public.
Yes.
Ms. Smith, is this what you were requesting? That suffices for what you're after?
Yeah.
That's good, right? That's what we want. Not splitting the lot and whatever, that's all good. You understand all the conditions?
I understand, but I don't, is it really necessary to have that?
Because it's gonna slop over,
It's all,
8, she's got 8, 9, and 10 as are her 3 lots. The house is on 9, or 10, and partially on lot 9. This garage is gonna go partially on lot 9 and partially on lot 8. So it's all slopping over, so I don't know that it's necessary to have it that you can't sell it.
This,
I don't get it.
Let me just answer that. So I think I can explain it fairly quickly. The city has done this on several others. You're not the first. Classic example of what we're trying to prevent would be if you came across somebody who came to you and said, I want to buy that garage, so why don't I buy that lot and that half of that lot? That leaves the house on a separate piece of property.
I see, okay.
But I can just buy that. What this does is it ties the two together, so any
Makes
sale
it
of
a
one.
combination, a complete unit.
Correct. That's the reason why the planning commission wanted it, and that's why we had
We
proposed it.
don't have any objection to it, we just thought it was kind of odd.
Sure.
Can I just ask a question? Though? We voted on this already, right?
Yes, we have. You
Okay.
can still ask the question.
Didn't we, a couple of years ago, pass a thing that said you can have a garage on a lot without a house?
We did, but we also said that when those deals come together, we take one of these agreements so that we tie those properties together. So if you've got a house across the street from where the principal structure is, we're gonna tie those two together with an agreement.
Every time. I mean, if I buy an empty lot, put a garage on it, I can legally do that. Is that not correct?
Sure.
Yeah, the way that-
Former planning and zoning members could explain that probably better than I. My understanding was, we're allowable to put a structure there if there is still room to put a dwelling there at some point in time. Is that correct, guys? Okay, that's how I understand it.
There had to be so much room for square footage for a home. You couldn't put the garage in the front, is what we're after.
Okay,
You had to leave room for whatever street the house would face.
Along
That
with
had
the
to be-
setbacks.
Yeah, the garage had to be set back so that there was room for a home. Because what was happening, and you've seen it too, Brad, they were building garages and there was no room for a house in front anymore.
okay.
A little bit off
We didn't feel in the
subject,
city's
but
best interest.
No, same subject.
it ties together.
Yeah, because making them not be able to sell their garage, I thought would be in conflict with what we've already said. You can put a garage on a lot without a house.
Somewhere
Is
it
that
does,
an incorrect statement?
no, somewhere it does state that on a separate lot, that you can build a garage, but you have to have that setback for a home in the front of it if it ever was to be sold separate.
You can place your garage on a separate lot so long as it's next to
Right,
your house or your accessory structure.
as long as you leave room for a
Yeah.
house in the front of it.
Bottom line, it's not in the city's best interest to have garages built all over winter, taking up choice building lots that we want for residential structures. That's
That
the
was part of our-
bottom initiative here that we need to keep in mind, that it's not in our best interest as a city to open these up for garages all over town, taking good lots.
We're good.
We digress.
Yeah. We got you confused now, right?
Yeah.
I don't plan on selling anything.
Council, is there a motion to exit Board of Adjustments?
I'll make that motion to exit Board of
Second.
Adjustments.
Councilman Scalar has made a motion to exit Board of Adjustments. Councilman Hockett has seconded the motion. All in favor of exiting Board of Adjustments, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, this motion carries unanimously. Motion carries. That concludes Board of Adjustments. City of Winter will now move on to old business. Tonight, the City of Winter will consider one item under old business. Council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to place, or whatever, for
Yep.
the second reading, to place on the second reading for passage and approval of ordinance 1060, the 2024 budget ordinance.
Is there a second to this
I'll
motion?
second that.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to place on second reading for passage and approval ordinance 1060, the 2024 budget ordinance for the City of Winter. Motion has been seconded by Councilman Sprinkle. Floor is open to comment or question. Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
and Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Ayes have it, this motion carries. That concludes old business. City of Winter now moves on to new business. Looking at your agenda, there are 9 items for consideration tonight under new business. Item number 1. Council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 1061, regulating hay bales in the city limits.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Schramm has made a motion to place on first reading ordinance 1061, hay bales in the city limits. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comments or questions. Councilman Schramm, as the motioner, you have first option.
We've been working on it a long time. I think we finally came to a amenable solution to this. We won't let them stack them in the city limits. They have to be gone after a certain amount of time. And our concern with fire and vermin is well addressed in this ordinance that we put before you.
Councilman Hockett?
My understanding from Austin Clunt was that he agreed with that, so I agree with it also. I think it answers our questions.
Floor is open to comment.
Mr.
Councilman Clay?
Jensen.
Brad, I got a question for you.
Councilman Clay
Go
has
ahead.
the floor.
Mr. Jensen, I had a question on the included ordinance of 1061. The striking of the subparagraph letter A, that confused me.
Let me find my copy here.
Was that the
Is
one
that a
that
mistake?
dealt with stacking them on?
It was just
city
the
property?
No,
letter.
just the A.
It
I
was-
think it was.
Is that a typo?
Yeah, typo, I think it's.
What are you confused about?
Just the A was struck. In other examples in here, you
Oh.
struck D and the whole verbiage there, but A got struck. That's
Well,
not struck.
I apologize, that should not have been struck.
Just
All
the
right.
letter is.
That
Yeah, just
confused
the
me.
letter is
I
not the
didn't
wording.
understand what was happening there.
Yeah.
Mr. Sprinkle.
Councilman Sprinkle, the floor is yours.
My concern with this would be, how is this going to affect our ISO rating? Have you looked into the insurance?
Well, if that's the question, Finance Officer Chandra Phillips has researched this and has your answer.
So your ISO rating, I don't actually have it in here, so I apologize, but there's only, of the 100 and some points that you can get, there's only 4 points that matter on your zoning. And we actually don't even have that many points currently on our zoning. And most of your ISO is based off your water pressure, your availability of fire hydrants. That's where most of it comes from. So, and those 4.6 points are actually just add-on points. They're not even a part of the official 100 points. I did talk to an insurance agent, asked how it would affect people in town if our ISO went down. They said if that were the case, you'd never see a farmer and rancher with any insurance because they don't live in town. They don't live next to a fire department. So the ISO rating on insurance, according to the agent that I spoke to, yes, they look at it, but it does not play a huge effect on your rates by any means.
Do you have
Floor
a
is
written
still yours.
document of it?
My conversation?
Yeah.
Yes, yep, I do. I can get that.
Okay.
Yep.
Because from what I've heard from different agents, they said it could very well affect every homeowner's insurance. And
If
that's-
the ISO in and of itself goes way down. You're correct on that. If the city of Winter has no water to pressure or the hydrants around, absolutely that would throw an effect on it. But the fact that the zoning ordinances, of which we already have super low points on already, that in and of itself wouldn't affect our ISO to a point where it would affect insurances.
Of the 4.6 points, I believe we were at 1.98.
So this ordinance will not affect our insurance rates
Nope.
whatsoever in the city of Winter, is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what I
Yep.
understand too.
The other part that goes into it is not necessarily if you have an ordinance on the books, it has to do if you enforce it as well.
Yep.
So the fact we had an ordinance that by right was unenforceable because there's so many different caveats in there, that ultimately counted against us too. But
The floor is yours still, Mr. Councilman Sprinkle.
The other question was that you've got in there, it has to be, what, 100 feet from occupied building? You don't state how far from electrical. This can't be underneath of it.
Correct.
There's no distance away from the power that I feel should be.
Okay.
That flame's gonna go.
First we heard of it, I don't know, if we want, if
And
committee wants to take it back, we can go back to committee.
Well, I can't hear his question.
He's talking about whether or not, well, why don't you state it again so I don't misstate it?
There's nothing in there for a reference that says it has to be so far away
you
from
don't have any
a power
distance,
line.
Brad.
It says they can't be stacked under a power line.
Right, but it
Define
doesn't say,
under.
it doesn't state how far away it has to be. And I think that should be specified in there. And I don't see any, if they violate this, I see no penalties or fines or anything on this. So,
Well, the violation of any ordinance carries with it a minimum
We
sentence.
have the standard
Yeah.
provision within the ordinances that any ordinance for which a violation is defined, if it doesn't otherwise provide a penalty, then it falls under that catch-all penalty clause, which is the $200 fine, I'm sorry, the $500 fine, maximum or 30 days in jail or both.
the other question I got is, how are you gonna, basically control if it's infested with rats or anything?
No different than any other structure inside the city of Winter. Whether it's your house or whether it's your garage, if you have a rat infestation, you are subject to the ordinances of Winter already. This is just another ordinance that refers to that.
Councilman Schuyler, any input?
This area in question is zoned for agriculture, is it not?
Industrial.
Industrial,
Yeah.
including agricultural.
Including ag, that is correct. Councilman Schramm, 1 minute rebuttal, if you'd like.
I really believe, Councilman Sprinkle, that we have covered everything we can. We're not gonna let them be stacked. A big round hay bale is 6 foot tall. By leaving a gap in between each set of 2 rows, if they wanna put them in what are called twin rows, 2 rows of bales, and a, 10 foot or 12 foot in between the gaps.
10 foot.
A man with a tractor can take that bale that's on fire and get it out of there, rather than if we let them be stacked
That I
up,
yet to see, Brad.
we'll have what they have in Cologne. So by doing that, we think we've minimized the risk to everybody in town, because these are gonna be in industry-only or agriculture-only areas. So there's not like there's gonna be a house right next door, except in the case of the ladies that just are gonna build a garage, because they do in fact border an industrial area where their house is.
The floor is Councilman Hawkins for a 1 minute rebuttal.
I think this ordinance does exactly what we want it to do. I think it takes care of a lot of issues, a lot of problems, and I think I would urge that we move forward tonight on a vote on this ordinance.
Councilman Sprinkle, you have a 1 minute rebuttal? You do first, Councilman Clay,
Mr.
I'm
Mayor,
sorry,
I
I'm sorry.
took a phone call
Yes,
and
Councilman Clay.
So, opinions are opinions. I am an insurance agent myself, but opinions are opinions. If our fire protection class drops, rates for the entire city will go up. They do. My opinion, as an individual insurance agent, is that this ordinance will not adjust our fire protection class by any means. So that's all I have to say about that.
Councilman Schuyler? You're good?
Yep.
That concludes question and answer for.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call for a roll call vote tonight, too.
Very good. Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. What you will be voting on is first reading of ordinance 1061, hay bales in the city of limits. In city limits. Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
No.
The ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 2, council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to put on first reading of ordinance number 1062, the quorum requirements for planning commission.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Schramm has made a motion to place on first reading ordinance 1062, a quorum for the planning commission, and that motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comment or question. Councilman Schramm?
As I understand, the state of South Dakota has authorized the definition, if you will, of changing what constitutes a quorum, whether it's the total number of people that are assigned to the commission or the total number of people that are on the commission. In our case, we have a couple of empty seats that haven't been appointed. So instead of having 7, we have 5. And our quorum, according to this new ordinance, would be then 3 rather than 4. That's what this does. It keeps us in line with South Dakota state law as they just changed it. It's common sense.
Yeah, this provision is already available in state law for city councils. So if your city council, i.e. you've got 6 members, but if 2 of your members resign, die, whatever, and before you get them replaced, you've got only 4 people sitting here, you're gonna be able to adjust your quorum down.
Councilman Hockett, you had the second. The floor is yours.
Yeah, that's the way I understand it too. It's a majority of the people involved within that particular governmental unit. If there's 7, it's gonna be 4. If there's 6, it's gonna be 3. And if they're
Not for a
missing
quorum.
some,
Quorum would have to be more than
One
half.
more than half.
Yeah,
So
How about
it'd still be
if there's
4. 6 would still require
6
4.
would require 4.
Just like
The way I
we
read
have
it-
6 on our council, we can't do anything without 4.
Right.
Okay? It's 1 more than half.
Majority.
Yep.
okay, thank you, I was confused.
Floor is open. Councilman Clay?
Mr. Jensen, could this be viewed as dereliction of duty by the mayor for not fully appointing the Planning and Zoning Commission?
No.
Okay. They could not, okay, I was just curious.
For clarification, the mayor did not steal nor appoint the last councilman. The council did.
But on the planning commission, that is the mayor's responsibility.
Right, that's why.
That's what he's
My
asking.
question.
Yeah.
We all understand my question. The attorney said no.
So quit dragging your feet.
We're working on it.
Yep. This is a good common sense change.
Correct.
Councilman
it is.
Sprinkle, any input?
None.
None. Council, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of placing first reading of ordinance 1062, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and this motion carries. Item number 3, council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Fred.
I would place on first reading ordinance number 1063, the designation of haul roads in the city limits.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Schramm has made a motion to place on first reading ordinance 1063, which is the designation of haul roads in the city of Winter. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Schuyler. Floor is open for comment or question. Councilman Schramm is the motioner. You have first option.
I need to say nothing.
Councilman Schuyler,
Nothing.
any comment or question?
This is basically just for trucks over 55,000 pounds.
That's a very good question, and you are correct, Councilman.
I didn't hear you.
Basically, this is for trucks over 55,000 pounds.
Any other comment or question? Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of placing ordinance 1063 on first reading, would you please say aye? Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 4, council, is there a motion?
I made all motions on the,
Okay, I'll make the motion.
They're all coming out of your committee, though,
It's
Mr.
ordinance.
Schramm.
the only one doing any work.
I will make a motion to approve the resolution of 1023-18 billing rates and processes.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Schuyler has made a motion to approve Resolution 2023-18, billing rates and processes. The motion has been seconded by Councilman Sprinkle. Floor is open to comment or question. Councilman Schuyler.
Looking at the ordinance as written, it has rates for different vehicles carrying out trash to our landfill. In the city of Winter, that does not mean that the citizen, if private citizen takes their garbage out there for rubble, they're not charged, are they?
This is
Oh,
different.
Yeah.
That's a
You're on the other one.
Well, that's
resolution.
different, okay.
Yeah.
Good question, but wrong resolution.
Wrong resolution.
This is if we have to do any work for any individual and our equipment or manpower is
Okay, yep,
utilized,
I was up
then
wrong.
we have to, then we charge out accordingly.
Yep.
The rates have always been out in resolution. We haven't changed the rates since 2021. But then the processes were added in on, so that we can clearly define how it works when something happens throughout the city of Winter.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Schramm.
if I understand this, the only thing that's really changing from what we previously had was the authorization of city authorized people to run city equipment. Is that not correct, Mr. Attorney?
It is, and if you look halfway down the first page, in that second resolved short paragraph is the second and third line there. That's really what was added in to clarify
Right.
exactly what you're talking about.
That's really all we've changed.
It is.
That's what this ordinance is, or resolution is addressing.
Really paraphrasing this thing, everything is billed by the city of Winter according to this resolution rate. The only people that can amend or deviate from rates being charged is you as city council that can give that authorization. Bottom line. Any other questions, council? Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All those in favor?
Resolution, you need a-
Oh, this is a roll call.
Resolution.
Yes, a resolution. Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
and Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Ayes have it. This resolution carries unanimously. Item number 5. Council, is there
Mr.
a
Mayor?
motion?
Mr. Mayor, I know, I got this one.
Practiced it.
I practiced already, I don't need. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2023-19 garbage rates.
Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
Councilman Schuyler has made a motion to approve Resolution 2023-19, a resolution regarding garbage rates in the city of Winter. That resolution's second comes from Councilman Hockett. Councilman Schuyler, the floor is yours.
My same question as previously stated. Individuals will not be charged to bring out their rubble to the landfill, right, as private?
we,
Citizens of the winter.
That's correct, that's what the $5 covers.
the five, yeah,
But if you live within the city limits, you present the
if
utility.
you live
bill.
within the city limits and you're bringing your own stuff from your own property out, then that's exempts from any further charge.
Good. Okay.
That's only at the landfill, though.
Yes,
And
that's
that's
not
how
this,
it's
yeah.
been. It does change if you take your household garbage out to the recycle center. So the top
That's the
portion of
recycle
this
center,
has been there.
That's the tipping center where we transfer.
Yeah, yeah.
And
No,
we-
I,
and we
yeah,
have to collect the
I was
yard.
talking the landfill usage. I mean, you can't take garbage out there, household garbage.
Correct.
This resolution also, for your knowledge, if you go to the second page, addresses weekend or special event delivery of receptacles, dumping fees, and then also residents taking household items to the tipping
recycling
center.
center.
That is correct. Any other comment or question?
On that, where the
Councilman
Wits
Sprinkle?
wrote here, it just says landfill loads from within the city limits, and then you got it broke down. and
That's what I wanted clarification.
That's what needs to be clarified, because if we charge for a pickup load, say so-and-so brings a load out there from his home
Depends on what they're bringing and where they're bringing it to.
to the landfill,
If they're bringing it to the landfill, we haven't changed.
okay?
A pickup is still $25. The $5 has been always my understanding to cover if somebody brings out a single item or a couple loads, or am I incorrect on that, Troy?
$5 is for, if you're a utility paying customer of the city of Winter, you're charged that $5 every month on your utility bill. That gives you rights to use the landfill other than tires. There are some things that we have to charge everybody for out there. Just tires is one of them. Other than that, people from the city of Winter get unlimited use of the landfill.
Free.
But, no, it is important to note,
Contractors do not, right?
landfill
Contractors.
loads from
In-
within the city of limits.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just because I live in the city, don't give me right to bring something from my property out in the country into here for free. I have to pay.
Correct.
It's important to know. We all know that. It's just noting it.
This schedule, though, in here, though, is also for contractors doing work
Correct.
For city residents.
on a residence.
And we
I
don't
believe
pay,
your
the
ordinance
contractor
clearly
won't pay
defines
either.
that the rates are
As
for
long as they bring the
contractors.
proper
That's-
We
proof,
just put the rates
Correct.
into the resolution.
which is that utility bill.
Okay, so
As
the,
long as the contractor has a utility bill from the customer he is working for within the city limits of Winter, there will be no fee for the shingles
That's
that
not
he
the way-
hauls out
No,
there.
that's
the
not the
way
way
it
the
reads,
ordinance
Brad.
Not for the shingle.
Any contractor gets charged the landfill.
If I'm doing some work for you on your house, and I take my trailer and haul it to the landfill, I've got to pay for that load, and then you're going to pay for it.
So we talked about this on an insurance job. It's included, a disposal fee. It comes right in there on the bill, disposal fee. It's in there. The insurance pays for it. The
If it's an
contractor-
insurance job.
Right, if it's an insurance job.
this is the resolution spelling out the rates. The ordinance clearly spells out contractors that would arrive with a multi-axle trailer would have a $50 fee according to this resolution at that rate.
And non-residents.
And non-residents
Yeah.
doubles right below
It
that,
doubles,
almost
it's-
triples.
Yep.
And the contractor still has to prove that they're bringing it from within city limits to get the in-city limits rate.
Correct. Any other questions? Okay,
Beat that horse to death.
hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler,
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
The ayes have it, motion carries. Item 6, council, is there a motion?
There you go, Brad.
Schramm and Clunt again. My goodness.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-20, water readings due to water meter issues.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Schuyler has made a motion to approve Resolution 2023-20 regarding water meter readings in the city of Winter. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Sprinkle. Floor is open to comment or question. Councilman Schuyler. You're going to defer your time to
Yeah.
Mr. Jensen for
Please.
explanation.
I'll try to explain it very briefly, but I think it's fairly clear. In order to provide council with an opportunity to treat people fairly and equitably is kind of the language that I've heard. Because of the fact that going through this process of replacing all the water meters, there are some of these customers who have not been getting a reported reading for up to 2 years or longer. Now, if those readings pull everything in for the last 2 or 3 years, you could have a water bill which frankly nobody would think is fair to collect from your customer. So what this does is defines the situation and authorizes the finance officer to A, keep track of and report the information, but B, to waive it as far as up to the time of the install of the new meter from that point forward. And it's only those that are facing that situation because of a large backlog that nobody knew was there.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Sprinkle?
That's the way I understood it. It was to justify the malfunction of the meters.
Any other comment or question, council?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Schuyler?
So basically, what you're saying is any past due amounts that the meter did not read are going to be excused.
You as council have the right
do
to
that.
excuse those. That is
That's
correct.
That's what the ordinance.
You have that authority with this resolution. Hearing no further comment or question, Chair will call a roll call vote. Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
And Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
Ayes have it. This motion carries.
And this is 2023-20,
That's what it says.
That's what it
Yes.
says on
and what
Yes.
the paper says.
Which in your packet was labeled as 19.
I did send a new one today.
Yeah, I got,
The
Oh,
new
you
one
did?
today
Okay.
does say 2023-20. There was a little miscommunication between myself and Mr. Jensen on the resolution numbers. You guys did a lot of work last week.
We had a problem.
Council, item number 7. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the contract addendum with River Bottom Sanitation for garbage services
And authorize the mayor to sign.
and authorize the mayor to sign all necessary paperwork.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Schuyler has made a motion to approve the contract addendum with River Bottom Sanitation for garbage services and authorize the mayor to sign. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comment or question. Floor is yours, Councilman Schuyler.
I'll defer to Mr. Jensen.
The contract addendum is bringing into the contract between the city and River Bottom the same information that was included as part of that previous resolution where you were talking about what the people are going to be billed for bringing garbage dumpsters, et cetera, to special events, providing for dumping those, and also bringing dumpsters and dumping them when you have a building clean out that's going to take 3 or 4 loads over a month period, things like that. We took the same information that was agreed to within that resolution and applied it to the contract, because the contract defines it as between the city and the carrier, who gets what.
This is not changing the rates for
Does not.
residents.
Does not. That's why it's an addendum. All it does is add to the existing, because we had some things that had not been covered yet.
Councilman Clay?
Adding an addendum does not change the contract, is what you're saying.
It just becomes a part of the contract.
Okay. So therefore, it doesn't create an opportunity to rebid it or withdraw
No.
or break it?
No, does not.
Because he can reject it and not sign it?
But he's already agreed to these.
From a technical
It hasn't been
standpoint,
signed yet.
No, I know, but
Okay,
he could, but he was involved in the conversation.
understand that.
We're all-
But he has the option to not accept an addendum.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Council, any other questions? Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Aye.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
I,
And Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Ayes have it, and this motion will carry. Item 8, Council, is there a motion?
There you go, Joe.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution 2023-22, contract addendum to jail contracts.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Hockett has made a motion to approve Resolution 2023-22, which is a contract addendum for the Winter City Jail contracts. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Schuyler. Floor is open to comment or question.
I think what this does basically is, on the transport officers, it puts their rate of pay on the CPI, Consumer Price Index, January 1st of every year, instead of, it's been, the figure we're paying now has been that way for quite a while, but what this does is move that to CPI, like all of our other jail contracts, everything is on CPI over there now. And this just brings that more in line with that.
Councilman Schuyler? Floor is open to comment or question.
Yes.
Hearing no further comment or question, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Schuyler.
Yes.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
I,
And Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Ayes have it, this motion carries. Item number 9, Council, is there a motion?
Make a motion to pay the claims.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Councilman Sprinkle has made a motion to pay the claims for the City of Winter. Motion has been seconded by Councilman Schuyler.
I have nothing.
Are there any comment or question?
I missed the claims when I was looking over the packet earlier. I was just taking a minute to look quick to see
I'll allow.
if there's anything stupid on here. Like this, the bottom line down here, that one's questionable, but,
Jeremy Clays, is that here?
no, this one, the Wells Fargo one, that one's questionable.
Oh, for-
I think I don't see anything.
Dan, there will be an executive session.
There will be
Yeah,
personnel?
contract negotiation.
No motion coming out of it, just so you're aware.
No
There'll be
motion.
no motion.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Chair will call the question. All those in favor of paying the claims for the City of Winter, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, this motion carries. That concludes new business. City of Winter will have one executive session, and this is a contract negotiation per SDCL 125-2 subsection 2. 4, I'm sorry.
Contract negotiations for employees.
Is that 4?
Case 4.
Subsection 4. If you go ahead and kill the stream, Mr. Day.